Doctors need to have the muzzle off of their mouth so they can admit that these vaccine injuries are happening before they can be treated. Because you can't fix a problem if you don't know there's a problem to begin with.
So
And once the
do you know
muzzle
the
gets off of the doctor, my name's Dallas Billion, and I've lived in Peterborough most of my life. My daughter, how it all started was my daughter went and got her COVID shot behind my back against my wishes, and started suffering from seizures and tics 13 hours after her first dose. I rushed her to the hospital where they didn't receive any help at all. They tried to blame it on marijuana use, which we know that marijuana treats seizures. So that wasn't it. And even when she stopped using, the seizures and the tics continued. The tics lasted 8 weeks, and the seizures, she's been seizure free for 2 years, but for 3 years she was having seizures. Um, and at the time, we weren't receiving any help from the hospital. They would just kind of shove us out the door with not even giving her any Advil. We just, I, so I had a friend that that did podcasts,
Okay.
and she interviewed me on her podcast. And I told my daughter's story about what happened. And I said if anybody else was injured, they could reach out to me. I was thinking 5, 10 people would maybe reach out, because I felt alone at the time. Because everybody was telling me vaccines don't do that, and they're there to save lives, and they don't hurt people. And I was being called crazy and all sorts of names, but I knew I wasn't alone, and my daughter wasn't alone. And after the podcast, my Facebook Messenger had like 60 messages within less than 25 minutes.
Wow.
And they just kept pouring in. And I didn't know what to do with all of these people. And so I just decided to start a support group to put them all in, because they were within a couple days. I had like 400 people that had messaged me that they were injured by their COVID vax as well. Sorry, COVID shot, because I refuse to call it a vaccine. Um, so I started the support group, and 4 years later, it has 1.4K followers.
Wow.
People that have been injured. I speak out of public health about all the injuries. I have 430 biographies that I've collected over 5 years of people that have been injured or passed on due to their vaccine. I go and speak out, like I said, public health. I follow the vaccination clinics around. I've went to Newfoundland. I've went to New Brunswick to meet injured. I've been all over, just trying to give these people a voice. I allow the injured to come to the rallies and share their own stories. I have
It's a spider on you.
digital spike. Oh, that's okay. I have a digital speaker, like a wireless speaker with wireless mics. So I allow them to share their story, and it gives them a voice. Because, like my daughter, they all feel gaslit by the medical community, and nobody will help them, and nobody's even willing to admit that there's vaccine injury.
Okay. So first, I like that intro. First, before I get into questions about what you just said, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Myself,
So you're
okay.
Dallas.
I'm Dallas.
Dallas. Are you from?
I lived in Peterborough most of my life. I grew up in Warsaw, Ontario, till I was 14, and then lived in Peterborough and most of the rest of the time.
So you're married.
Two
have
children.
two children.
Two children. I'm married. My daughter is 20 now, and my son is 21.
Do you work?
I don't any longer.
You don't any longer.
I lost my job for refusing the COVID job, the
Oh.
COVID shot.
Oh, what job was that?
I work at the Young Women's Christian Association at the
Okay.
YWCA. It's a abuse shelter on Charlotte Street. And I worked there for quite a few years, and I loved my job, and I was willing to go along with the mask protocols. I was willing to go along with the temperature readings, all of that. I just refused the COVID shot, and for it, they fired me. So
Yep.
I haven't worked since then.
You haven't worked since then. Did they call you back uh, after they fired you? Did they fire you or you left the job?
They did it in a weird way. So they put me on unpaid leave, is what they said, until I got vaccinated. And there's two buildings. There's the shelter where the women, the clients live, and then there's another building beside the Simcoe Street bus terminal, which is the administration office.
Okay.
And I wasn't allowed to work there, but they needed painting done because I do cleaning and painting, and they knew that from before. And they actually called me to come back right before Christmas to do some painting. And I said, but I'm not getting my COVID shot, and I don't have it, and I'm not getting it. And they said, that's okay. Everybody here is vaccinated, so it's fine. But it wasn't okay for me to go and work at the shelter still.
Okay.
So they put me, I assumed because I was on unpaid leave, it would be a contract job. So what they did, because I said, well, I need money for Christmas. That was the only reason why I agreed to go back after what they just did and go back there and do that, because I needed money for Christmas for my children. They said you'd have money for Christmas. So I agreed to go back. I did all the painting. And once I was done, and there's people all around me, keep in mind, like they weren't segregating me from nothing or nothing like that. So it didn't make any sense why I couldn't just have my job back. But needless to say, I did what I was asked. And at the end of the job, I said, okay, I'm done the job. So I'm just wondering who's writing the check. And they said, oh no, everybody, payroll just went out. You're gonna have to wait till next week, in 2 weeks, till next payroll. And I said, no, but I'm on unpaid leave, so it'd be contract work. And she goes, oh no, well, we threw you back on payroll just till you're paid out. Then we're gonna put you back on unpaid leave. So I actually didn't get the money till January 5th.
Okay. So
that's a little bit longer than the story I wanted to tell about that. But
yeah, but no, it's cool. It's cool. So now, do you intend to still work, or you're fine without working?
I would love to work. Here's the problem. I feel like they're gonna do the next lockdown measures or next vaccine, and I put all my time and effort into getting a job and feeling comfortable in the job and liking the job. And then the minute I won't get another vaccine that they push out there, then I'm going to lose my job again. And it was very traumatic for that to happen to me, because I not only had my job doing that, I had family members that were cutting me off from going to their house. I couldn't go to dinner. I couldn't go to family dinner. I couldn't go to any outings. I had people call me really horrendous names. We were really treated horribly. Like, COVID was a really horrendous thing for me, because I not only lost my job, my 2 children were injured by it because they didn't believe me when I told them not to get it. They didn't believe me at all. And now, unfortunately, they're both kind of seeing what happens there. I lost all my family, all my friends. Like, it was a really traumatic time on how much we were actually all segregated. And to me, I was just trying to save people's lives, although it might not have looked like it then. With all the information coming out, with Global News doing articles about the injured, and they have a vaccine injury support program from the government that was put out in 2020. Like, why would they do that unless people are being harmed by their vaccine?
So you just spoke about the program that the government has put out. Have you tried to reach out to that body?
Here's the problem. So the vaccine injury support program has a lot of stipulations so that people can't apply. So if it's over the 2-year mark, I believe it is, they're not eligible. Also, I had a doctor log my daughter's reaction on what's called an AEFI, adverse effects following immunization. And once a doctor logs that, it's supposed to be logged into the vaccine injury support program, or so I thought.
Okay.
But that's not how it works. So even though I had a doctor fill out a AFI report and gave it to Thomas Piggott at Peterborough Public Health, he disregarded that doctor's AFI report, stating it wasn't from her vaccine and she's eligible for further doses. So he disregarded that doctor's findings, even though that doctor went over all her 10 years of medical records, and Dr. Piggott, all he was going off of at the time was a basic blood work, because that's all we had done, because nobody would do a CAT scan or anything on her at the time.
Okay.
So yeah, we weren't allowed to apply because when I did phone, they said, well, was it approved by the chief medical officer? Because their first question was it logged by a doctor? And I said, yes. And they said, was it approved by the chief medical officer where you live? And I said, no. And they said, well, you do not qualify. Your daughter it has to be approved. Like they make you jump through different hoops to be able to be approved. And even the people that are approved, I know people that are on like their seventh caseworker. They've been waiting 3 to 4 years now for compensation, and they still haven't received it. The company got over 50, something like $50 million, and like 32 of that 32 million went to the actual administration, the company doing it. And the company, when I looked into it, it's called Oxaro. It's essentially it's a insurance company that they've got looking after medical claims.
Okay. Do you find something wrong with that?
Oh, absolutely. There was an investigation done by Global News. Anybody can look it up. There was day drinking. Fridays were day drinking days. They were playing ping pong. They were watching Netflix. They were not taking calls at all. Like when you call the Vaccine Injury Support Program, you have to leave a message. Like you don't ever get to talk to somebody. Like they got a crap ton of money and it hasn't went to barely any of the injured that need the money. It's went to administration fees to all the people that work there.
Mm. So, if someone wanted to ask you, for example, you started. What is the goal of the movement that you have started right now? Is the goal to make sure people receive the compensations they want, or you just want their voices to be heard?
There's three things. I
Okay.
want their voices to be heard. I want them to have compensation, and I do this because everybody deserves informed consent, and I don't believe anybody got proper informed consent. Because if they knew that they could, have seizures after this, if they knew that they could be in a wheelchair for the rest of their life and be paralyzed, if they knew they were going to have myocarditis, if they knew they were going to have a stroke, if they knew they were going to be at higher risk for turbo cancer, something that never existed, if they knew that there was all these risks, I guarantee you they wouldn't have signed up to do it, or as many. They weren't given proper informed consent. All they were told that it could give you a sore arm or have flu-like symptoms. They weren't given proper informed consent on what it could actually do to them. They weren't told that there was altered DNA added to those vaccines, which is how the mRNA technology works. They weren't told that the SB40, which is monkey cells that were added to it, they weren't told any of those things. The inserts that came with the actual vaccine themselves, I don't know about now, but 3 years ago when we looked them up, and 4 years when they're really pushing them, the inserts were blank. We had a pharmacist, I have a video of it. There was a pharmacist where my friend goes up and asks him to open the insert to tell us what's in it, and it's blank. And he flips it over. He goes, oh, it must be on the other side. Right in the video, and he flips it over, and it's blank too. Nobody knows what's in it.
Okay. So, I would like to ask, how are your kids doing right now?
My daughter's been better, kind of. She'll have like these weird spells where she feels like she's gonna go into a seizure, like the fainting part, but doesn't fully go into that. But she was diagnosed with Crohn's disease after her vaccine. So, her shot. And that there's a lot of things that she can't eat. It causes severe stomach pain to where she has to go to the hospital. Like I've never seen her cry and scream in so much pain in my life, just from eating something she can't eat now. Like it's really altered her entire life. The seizures have regressed, but when she's under extreme stress, that's when it starts to happen again. I believe it's a neurological issue that's going on with her, with the seizures and the tics and things. They diagnosed it on anxiety. They said it was in her head.
How about your son?
My son suffered severe nosebleeds right after his for probably about 6 months. to where he was soaking his shirts and blacking out at work and soaking his comforter in his bed, and had severe migraines. And he would keep going up to the hospital, and they wouldn't find anything. They gradually stopped, but he gets severe migraines to this day all the time, where he never had them before. Um, he has brain fog, severe brain fog, where he can't seem to think of what he wants to say next in a sentence. He didn't have that problem before. A lot of neurological issues with them.
Are these symptoms that you talk about, are they like common with the other stories that you've come across?
Oh yeah, there's so many people that I know. I probably know about 14 to 15 people that have had seizures after their vaccine. I know probably 4 people that are in wheelchairs that it stopped them. They lost the use of their legs, so they're in a wheelchair now. One of them is, well, she's 20 now, but at the time she was 17. She's in New Brunswick. Um, there's another lady in Texas, because I mean, I have a lot of people all over the world that reach out to me. But there's a lot of people. That girl had to have a feeding tube and intubated 5 times. I know a girl in Oshawa. She died for 8 minutes and had a heart attack, and her husband had to make the choice, if she didn't wake up in the next couple minutes, that he was gonna have to pull the plug. And she ended up surviving. But she was a Canada famous baseball player and was really good at it, was in the championships, and now she can't even walk, you know, a few steps without being winded. I'm friends with a lady that lives in Ennismore. She actually worked with my mom. My mom was a PSW for 27 years, and she lost her job for refusing. And the lady that she worked with took it and kept her job. That lady is now part of my group. She walks with a walker, has seizures herself. So the seizures have been so bad that it gave her brain damage, and her husband and daughter have to feed and dress her sometimes.
That is
So I saw both sides.
that is a lot.
Sorry.
So
I've just seen, like, these stories don't go anywhere. They're burned into my brain. And I've met these people, and they become some of my best friends. And I may have lost a lot of family and friends over all of this COVID scam. That's what it was. But I gained a lot of great people through this too. And it just breaks my heart that, they did what they thought was right. Sorry.
yeah, it's okay.
They did what they thought was right. They did what they thought would save their community, to look after their family members. And now that they need help, they're abandoned by their government, by the medical professionals, by everybody, by their own family members, by people that even got vaccinated, because they don't even believe they're vaccine injured. So it makes me really sad for them, because, the people that didn't take it, yeah, we lost a lot of people, but there was a lot of people that didn't take it that they don't realize. And we all became really good friends. But what they don't realize is the people that have been injured don't have anybody, because the people that got vaccinated, that were their friends because they went along with it, they don't believe they're injured, so they don't want to talk to them. And the people that are like me, unfortunately, a lot of them, not all, I will say that because I'm not one of them, but there's a lot of people on the other side that think that they got what they deserve because they were warned, and they didn't heed the warning. But I don't believe that. I believe it was coercion. And a lot of people, even that knew it was bad, didn't have a choice. They were single mothers. They looked after foster children. They would have their children removed if they didn't get vaccinated. There were people that were in jail cells that would be sent in the hole if they didn't get vaccinated. That's coercion. That's not choice. And I feel like these are still human beings, regardless, and not everybody had one of me yipping in their ear not to get it, right?
Right.
I don't believe that was choice. That was coercion, and they're human beings, and they deserve love, and they deserve respect, and they deserve help. And if nobody else wants to help them, I'm here to try and help as best as I can, even if that is just giving them a voice. It's the best I can do.
That is a lot. So I personally want to ask, who is supporting you, and what support system do you have? Because trying to carry out all these stories, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of emotion, because it's These are stories of people. So,
And I know people that have died. Like, that's the worst part.
so what's your support system? How are you able to, continue doing this and continue this movement? Like handle yourself and handle the movement. How?
Well, I do it 100% out of my own pocket. I've never asked for a donation unless it's going to two of the injured. And I've only done two rallies that way where I have a donation jar. And one goes to Colin Schneider, his wife. She found him dead on the floor after his. The other person I get donations for is Amanda Toms. Her baby was healthy and she was due to give birth in a couple days to a healthy baby. They had ultrasound and everything, and they scared her into believing that if she didn't get the COVID shot, that if she got COVID, she would die, and so would her baby. And unfortunately, after she got it, she had to give birth to a stillborn 4 days later. So I get donations for them, but everything else I do in my own pocket. I try to raise awareness for Dan Hartman. He lost his son, Sean Hartman, at 17. He got it to play hockey, something he'd been doing since he was
Sorry.
little. And so he went and got it, and he was found dead. His dad found him dead beside his bed 20 days later after his.
Wow.
So
That's
as for what I do it 100% out of my pocket. I don't ask for donations
Donation.
unless it's for people.
Right.
I feel like this is what I'm
Supposed
supposed to be doing.
Okay. Sounds good. So, in a perfect world, what is it that you would want right now? If you could, if you could ask, if you could, people could hear you, if your voice is going to be heard, what is it that you want?
I want more people to stand up. I want more people that are injured. I know you're scared. It has taken a lot of the people that speak in my rallies a long time to get up and do what they do.
So, what do you want them to stand up for?
I want them to stand up for themselves. I want them to stand up for the harms that were done to them. I want these people to be held accountable for the genocide. And that's what that is, for the genocide that they committed. I want these people to held accountable so that this never, ever happens again. And people need to be given a choice. I don't want to ever see another vaccine mandated ever again. That should be choice, medical choice. That should never be pushed on anybody. It should be freedom of choice. And these people that have done these things should be held accountable for what they, and these people deserve compensation at the very least, because Dan is never going to get his son back. Amanda's never going to get her baby back. But they deserve to be compensated and at least, acknowledge that this happened to them. Because right now, that's not what's happening.
Okay.
Sorry.
That is okay. I'm really sorry. That is okay.
Try to hold together.
I know, right? I got bit by, I don't know what bit me. It's crazy. Okay. How have you handled the criticism that you felt that you faced while doing this whole campaign? I know definitely there must have been some pushback. How do you handle the criticism?
It used to make me angry in the beginning. Not that I would shout back or anything when they call me names, but the anger, it's went away. Like I've just got so much push to be out there to do this that it doesn't even bother me anymore. Like, I honestly just ignore it. I know what my truth is. I know what these people's truth is. And that's all that matters. I don't let it bother me because they're just not awake to it yet. And unfortunately, with most people, until it happens to them or their family, they're not going to believe it. And that's okay.
True. So
I've been at the lowest of my low, and I was really contemplating suicide tonight. And I really thank you for being an ear for me to, you know,
to
to
vent.
release and vent. And because that gentleman's dad was a doctor, and his dad pushed him to get it. And he was injured after it, and now his dad won't talk to him. He doesn't believe in it. So there's a lot of people that are just alone, and they just to have somebody on the phone. It's just messages like that that make me feel like I'm doing the right thing. I'm giving somebody hope, or trying to, in a world that's so disgusting right now.
Really
I
true.
try to give them a little bit of hope, something to hang on to, and it's those messages that brighten my day. And the downfall, the financial part of it, has
Yeah.
been a bit of a struggle. I'm on disability myself pre-COVID, but I still worked when I was on disability because I'm not one to sit around.
Yep.
But then I lost my job. So fortunately for me, I had something to fall back on. Um, but it's still the finances. Like there's a lot of times I had to take money out of my water bill or my hydro bill or things to do these things. Like they cost a lot of money and people
So
don't
what did you have to
realize.
fall back on?
Oh, pardon me.
You said you were lucky you had something to
I
fall
had
back on.
disability to fall back on because I would have
Okay.
been homeless
Oh, okay.
because I lost my job for refusing. So if I didn't have that to fall back on, my husband has been a great support. But you know, if it wasn't for that, I don't know if I would have been able to say no either,
True.
because I wouldn't be able to look down on my kids and say we're going to be homeless because I'm refusing to get this shot.
Okay.
Or you're going to go hungry because I'm refusing to get this and I'm not going to have a job.
So wanted to ask, do you think this the COVID shot has saved lives in any way?
I don't believe it has. Not with the mRNA technology that was added to it. mRNA is just used to replicate DNA over and over and over. I think if you haven't been harmed yet, because there is a placebo with every experiment, and this
Hmm?
was an experimental vaccine, they called it. So there's always a placebo in experiment. So there's people that would have got saline and they'll be fine because they actually didn't get anything. And there's people that got it that will have issues either right away, like my daughter, or years later. And sometimes, because time's passed, people don't even think about that. So there's people walking around there that have issues they've never had before, but they just chalk it up to something else. They don't think of that they got this COVID shot, right? And you're gonna see a lot more people hurt because a lot of people know the knowledge that anybody that got that within the first 3 to 5 years, the 5 year mark, you're gonna see the damage it can really do. And we're at that point now. So, I mean, I've lost quite a few people. I know my friend has just lost 3 or 4 people in the span of a couple weeks. Um, now they're not going to necessarily all come out and say that. There was hundreds of thousands and thousands of people that died suddenly. I'm sure you saw the athletes dropping. There was a lot of athletes that are fit, that look after themselves, and they're dropping of heart attacks for no reason. Healthy, healthy people. Um, that's what it's from. It's from the rule out of that. But they're not allowed to talk about it
Mm.
because it goes against their narrative, and they made a lot of money off of those COVID shots.
Mm. Uh, how do you think these shots relate to the usual flu shots? Do you think there's any safety risks?
Well, the flu shot didn't have foreign DNA. Like the COVID shot had full male genomes of aborted fetal cells, and those like female genomes are much smaller than male, and when they go into the female body, it wreaks havoc. This is where you're finding the turbo cancers and a lot of those things. You're going to see a lot of people. You're going to hear the term turbo cancer soon a lot if you haven't already. It's a new thing since like 2022. But turbo cancer, where it goes from stage 1 to stage 5, so there's no chance of getting chemo. It jumps. Like there's no chance of getting treatment. Some of these cancers, some of these oncologists that have worked for 35 years, 40 years have never seen this kind of cancer before. Therefore, they don't even know how to treat it. I'm like, there's a lot of things happening with that. They did a lot of the mRNA technology wasn't in other vaccines before.
Okay.
Now it is because they've utilized it and they've got it FDA approved. Once it got passed for children and the FDA approved it, well, then it's approved to put in anything they want now. So all the vaccines have mRNA technology in it now. All of them. And they don't have to tell you that. I know it's a lot to wrap it. I do have backup research that I can send you to prove these things that I'm saying. But I think, like, if something wasn't wrong, why would they have a vaccine injury support program? First of all, why was it brought out in 2021? How come there's so many people that claim they've been hurt from this, but not the other ones? Like, I don't have 430, 500 bios of people that were hurt from their flu shot. I'm sure there are people that have been hurt from their flu shot. I know there's people that have been hurt from the measles, mumps, and rubella, which is your child vaccine. I have a friend, her daughter, at 18 months, received her measles, mumps, and rubella. Her daughter was walking and talking and over hitting all her milestones. And after her measles, mumps, and rubella, she essentially went brain dead. She went bald. She stopped walking. She stopped talking. She went mute. And she's 28 years old, I believe now. And she still lives at home with my friend. And she'll never be able to have her own place. Like, it happens with the other vaccines to other people, but not to this extent.
Okay. All right. So, what do you hope to achieve with this campaign in the following years? What's the future of this campaign?
Well, it used to be that people should just have it's about my body, my choice. That's what my original fight was. Informed consent, my body, my choice. Well, it's no longer my body, my choice when people are dying at an alarming rate. I believe it should be pulled right off the market. I don't. People, believe that, they should have the freedom of choice. And I get that. I stood for that. But when I've seen so many people die and be injured, I don't think it should be. It's been pulled in Denmark for years. They don't allow it in Denmark. It was pulled right off the counter. There's other places it was pulled right off the counter. AstraZeneca's been pulled. Johnson Johnson's been pulled. Like, why do you think this has been happening? Right? Denmark, as you cannot get a COVID shot there. And here, I believe I just heard that there was somebody that went in to go get their COVID shot at the pharmacy the other day, and now they need a prescription. Now, you can't just go in and get it, or you have to pay for it in some places. So I find that kind of odd if it's so safe. The other thing that bothered me, which I'm kind of off topic, but the other thing that bothered me is all the incentives they gave to get that shot. Where, like, they were saying free zoo passes if you got your vaccine at the Toronto Zoo. They were putting your name in the lottery. They were, all of these incentives in places in the States. You get burger and fries, all these incentives to go get the shot. But I never ever heard them push so hard and so strong, and we're so upset at the refusal over any vaccine other than this. And
Yeah.
if it's supposed to be life-saving and it was free, then how come insulin isn't free? How come other life-saving treatments isn't free? Right?
Sure.
It makes you start to question. And the whole 6 feet of distancing, that was a little iffy. And then people should have woke up when, they said you had to wear the mask to the table, but once you were eating, you could take it off because COVID knows when you're eating, I guess. It was just those kind of things that I thought, okay, people are gonna no, there's something wrong here. But they didn't. And I was a little shocked at that, honestly.
All right. So we're actually drawing to a close. Basically, if there's one message you would like to give to policymakers and maybe doctors, the public, what would it be?
My message would be for the government to take the gags off the mouths of these doctors so that they can admit to vaccine injury, because I know 5 doctors, amazing doctors, that have stood their ground and lost their license for stating the harms that these shots are doing, and they need to be reinstated, and these doctors need to have the muzzle off of their mouth so they can admit that these vaccine injuries are happening before they can be treated. Because you can't fix a problem if you don't know there's a problem to begin with.
So
And once the muzzle gets off of the doctors and they're allowed to speak freely and not have to worry about losing their license for admitting to these, then a lot of people are going to get a lot more help.
Okay.
And that's where it starts, I think.
Okay. Do you know the names of these doctors by any chance?
Yeah, Dr. Shoemaker, Dr. Chazzi, Dr. Hoff, Dr. Speecher, sorry guys, trying to remember them all at the top of my head.
That's
amazing
okay.
doctors, amazing.
That's okay.
You can search them up. They're on Facebook, wherever.
If someone wanted to get involved with your campaign, how can they reach you?
Well, they can reach me on Facebook, Dallas Billion, or my group is called Silent Survivors. Guess I should have said that. I guess I didn't say that.
No, it's right there. It's right there, definitely.
Silent Survivors, COVID-19 vaccine injured. And it's on Facebook, but sometimes it's shadow banned pretty good. So it's easier for people to search me, and then I can add them to the group. And I guess my last message would be this: I will not stay silent so you can stay comfortable.
That's a wonderful statement. That's a wonderful statement. And lastly, what's the one piece of advice you would like to give to anyone watching this video who feels unheard about their own experience?
Just keep telling your truth. Eventually somebody will listen. Don't be afraid. What has been done to you, people need to be held accountable 100%. You just keep pushing, and there's people that love you and support you and are fighting for you, even if you don't know them. Just keep going and keep pushing, and hopefully you will all be given the justice and recognition and accountability that you deserve.
Well said. Couldn't have said it better. I want to say big thanks to you, Dallas, for sharing your story. It's an amazing story. And I actually wish the best for you, for your kids, and your husband is doing a great job. And keep being who you are. And stay true to your truth.
Thank you.
All right. And still Marvellous. Thank you guys for watching. You know where to find her if you need her. Dallas Fillion on Facebook. And yeah. And always also remember to stay true to your truth. You know what time it is. Still Marvellous. Thank you so much for watching. You know what time it is. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.